Five Nights at Freddy's is a humongazoid series with 10 main games, multiple spin-offs, and even more to come. It's hard to know what we should be keeping track of. Well, how about we help narrow it down with today's video? Yeah, that's right, let's do it right now. And let me know down below what detail or feature was removed that you would have liked to see. And at 10, the end. The FNAF story we know and love, but also rage at on a daily basis. Oh wait, maybe that's just me and MadPet, or I don't know, sorry to assume, but either way, the complicated story that makes me cry myself to sleep on an actually daily basis could have been a lot simpler, and a lot more to the point. Yeah, 3 games, 1 story. That's right, in case you missed on previous lists, the FNAF story was only meant to be 3 games long, with William dying in FNAF 3's fire. However, the community thought the Springtrap jump scare was so disappointing that Scott corrected it, or I guess overcorrected, with FNAF 4's Nightmares. Yeah, but then after that we got more confused, so we continued. The story could have been 3 games long, okay? Maybe no book, maybe no movie, definitely no Fast Bear Frights. Yeah. How insane would that have been? It's incredibly nuts to think that this 9-10 game long story could have been a third of the length. Damn, that's making me rethink my whole life. Okay, is this really what this channel should be talking about? I could be talking about Skyrim. I love Skyrim. In a 9 co-op mode. Believe it or not, FNAF was actually going to include a multiplayer mode, or at least in Help Wanted. In the game files, there is a folder called Multiplayer that has several files stored within it. These files are named things like Character Info Table, MP Game Mode, and so on, suggesting that multiplayer mode was actually planned with release, but it's now unclear whether this was entirely scrapped or possibly saved for a future update, or maybe something to build up hype, even though they've seemingly completely abandoned that game now. I don't know, do you have a theory about if multiplayer mode is going to make a comeback, or maybe make an appearance, or if it's going to be in another game? I don't know. Would you play multiplayer mode? Would you like it if it was there? Be sure to let me know. My theory is that multiplayer mode may have just been for the trailer for FNAF VR, since you can see the hands and the head of the person that is playing it, but it could be something more than that, alright? Like, why wouldn't they remove the files from the game, and then like, why would they call it multiplayer if it was only for a trailer, you know? However, if you do want to play multiplayer FNAF, you can do that by using custom VR chat maps. Yeah, I don't know how to work custom VR chat, but I don't know, maybe I could figure it out. Who knows, it would be something interesting. Maybe I could make a map. I don't know, live stream? I doubt it, that sounds complicated. But you also don't need a VR headset for VR chat, so yeah, you can do what you want. It's up to you. I'm rambling. And it 8 lives. I think one thing that would have changed everything is if FNAF had a life system. Like, sure, you can go back and do the night again after you fail night 5 thanks to the continue button, but I think lives would have made the game worse rather than better. Part of the appeal is that you only have one shot, one chance, one opportunity. Knees weak, mom's spaghetti. And while yes, it saves what night you're on, you still need to restart the night when you die, and I think lives would take away from that. Even though it's basically the same thing, unless the lives would let you like continue the night that you were on. Like if you got jump scared at 5 AM, if the lives had it be so that you were still at 5 AM, that would kind of break the game. Especially if you use the glitch where you can like continue the jump scare for a long time while still continuing the night with the system. With the system it has now, lives are kind of redundant, unless it would have been like if you ran out of lives you had to restart from night 1. But we know it was planned thanks to the gameplay that was left on Scott's YouTube channel from the development days of the first FNAF game. And at 7, the box. The FNAF 4 box has, like the Bite of 87, been a pain in the ass for all FNAF fans and for those who try to explain things and have been struggling to explain it for a while because of the goddamn box. However, FNAF 6 might have actually given us the answer we were looking for with its final speech. Henry's final speech from the true ending of the game has the layout of the FNAF 6 pizzeria actually slowly appear on screen and then kind of fade. It's a weird thing, but the layout of the FNAF 6 pizzeria is actually oddly similar to the layout of like the box when you're looking at it straight on. And stories from Candy Cadet talking about 5 things becoming one thing and then getting put into a box makes even more sense as well. 5 animatronics, however you want to count it, Baby, Scrap Trap, Molten Freddy, the Puppet, and Lefty, or Molten Freddy is most of them. However you want to work it, 5 things are becoming one fire in the smoke that is Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. And while William may have escaped, maybe that's what the box is meant to represent. You know, the box being like reality and William being able to escape it. Who knows? Really? Okay? I don't. Because he removed the reveal that was supposed to happen, right? I think it was FNAF 6. I think that's when he actually debated opening the box. Or maybe it was like Fury's Rage, something like that. He debated opening the box, but then he didn't, so. And at 6, captured. One comment that's always stuck out to me was about a newspaper clipping from FNAF 1. One that says the killer was actually caught and convicted for the murders of the missing children, which doesn't really make sense, unless Henry was falsely convicted. But then, since they couldn't find the bodies, he got out of prison when Fazbear Frights happened, which would explain why he wasn't involved in the first games, at least to our knowledge. I don't know though, okay? There's been a lot of conflicting information about the missing children's incident, so we can't exactly be sure of what happened, but honestly, Henry being falsely imprisoned would explain a lot. And considering how there were no bodies, there wouldn't really be forensic evidence, so it would be a lot of circumstantial and hearsay. But then again, people also don't want to let a child killer go free, so him being arrested anyway would also make sense. But still, okay? Come on, 30 years is a lot of time for new evidence to come to light before Fazbear Fright happened and all that nonsense. It is nonsense at this point, alright? But there's also another explanation for that, alright? It seems like after the series did well, Scott removed that plot point from the series so that Afton could come back in more games. Which could also explain why FNAF 2 is a prequel, because he hadn't decided to remove it at that point. Halfway through into number 5, Norman Bedroom. Within Help Wanted's game files, there is a prop labeled as Norman Bedroom. The prop is an untextured table that goes entirely unused throughout the game, but many people when seeing this file name instantly, without question, believed it to be the name reveal of the bite victim from FNAF 4, Crying Child, which I do understand, given that he's the only character that has a 3D modeled bedroom, despite us also seeing Elizabeth and Michael's bedrooms in FNAF 4's 8-bit minigames, but again, Crying Child is the only character with a 3D bedroom. But, expectedly, it was later found out that this wasn't actually the case, that it wasn't the name reveal, okay? It was a prop model purchased online, and Norman Bedroom was the default name of the file upon purchase. Okay, so anyone telling you in the comments that Crying Child's name is Norman is blatantly incorrect. And there you go, you can use this against them. Models online get purchased all the time, okay? It's a very lucrative business, from what it seems. But the default names are hardly lore solving when it's pointed out as default, okay? So there you go. More ammo for your online war in the comments. Go for it, go nuts. Send them to this video, we need the views. And at 4, Bonnet Animation. In Ultimate Custom Night, there are completely leftover frames for the animation of Bonnet, or Bonnet, however you want to say it, covering her nose from sister location, alright? It was never necessarily used in game, however, and this is probably because there was no need for it, since the player is unable to rip ass. But actually, like, imagine if that was a game mechanic, okay? If it was me, it would be enough to clear the animatronics out of the room and I wouldn't have anything to fear, aside from, well, suffocating. But then again, actually no, it is that bad, alright? I have a crippling fear of walking out of the bathroom and then having someone waiting to use it after me. It's horrifying. But also, since that detail's kinda weak, there's a completely unused custom night text that also exists in the game. It was supposed to be used for the game's main menu screen, but it was removed in favor of there being space for like offices, power-ups, and challenges. You know, those buttons. Probably because it was kinda pointless, since, you know, the entire game is custom night. The ultimate custom night, in fact. Funnily enough, one of the screenshots on the game's Steam and Game Jolt pages still has the menu screen including this text for whatever reason. Getting close to the end, at number 3, Kentucky Fried Chica. There are a few unused models in FNAF VR that may have been prizes at some point. One of these is an unused model for a fried chicken box labeled Processed Poultry Proxy. Yeah, the box is a dull red with white decals and text. As well, Chica appears on the sides of the box. And considering the intentional 3 Ps and the red and white color scheme, I'm guessing it's supposed to be a reference to KFC. And I mean, I think we can all understand why Scott would have told Steelwool to leave this out, okay? I've built a whole reputation about making jokes about Chica. My whole online FNAF presence is as a dude who tries to bang Chica, basically. Okay, so like what else would I do if this popped up? Yeah, I think we can all understand why it was removed. And you know what? I feel like it was my fault. And I'm proud of that, even though it's definitely not true. But ultimately, in at number 2, Glamrock redesign. This is something that I didn't notice until I actually went into the comments of the first Security Breach trailer. In summer of 2020, Funko leaked the design of the action figures for Security Breach, therefore leaking the designs of the animatronics. People were pissed about this, obviously, since Scott had specifically told Funko not to release anything, but at least we figure he would. I don't know if he made a post about it or something that like he said not to, but I feel like Scott's a pretty secretive guy. It would make sense if he did, but I don't know. What is it with Funko and leaks? They do that a lot, seemingly. But anyway, the designs of the characters from the gameplay trailer are actually different to those of the action figures released. This is most notable on Roxanne's clothes, where Scott moved the black star shapes, and on Monty's guitar, where he removed or made the black stripes smaller. Chica's guitar is also a lighter blue and mostly white, as opposed to the white and darker blue of the original action figure, and the animatronics in the trailer are properly proportioned. I don't know, the Funko action figure heads weird me out. It's fine on like the Funko Pops because that's kind of their design, but like if it's an action figure and the rest is normally proportioned, come on. And finally, in at number 1, leftover Glitchtrap. Inside the files of FNAF VR, a leftover and untextured model for Springtrap can be found. This model is also labeled as Glitchtrap. It has no physical differences between it and Springtrap, with the exception of a small stitch-like indent on the upper left-hand side of the torso, but it may be possible that this was supposed to be the original Glitchtrap, as it is the origin of Glitchtrap's name, but this is uncertain. We can't really be sure, but it's definitely a little interesting tidbit nonetheless. And also note that this isn't a Scraptrap model and instead is Springtrap. This could be explained by just like being a placeholder until they had a Glitchtrap model, since Springtrap is also in the game, so it would have been easy enough to do that. But it could also be an indicator that the Afton lineage, I guess, goes from Springtrap to Glitchtrap to Burntrap without Scraptrap even happening, thus aiding my Scraptrap as a game character theory. And sure, you may think that I'm overthinking that, but if I didn't share that to you as like a possibility and merely presented it as if it was already decided, then you would have believed me. Okay, that's why game theory videos are so compelling. MatPat gives you the evidence as it makes sense to his point, but my brain doesn't let me do that for various reasons, so I present multiple avenues. I also had to make sure this number was long enough for this video to hit 10 minutes after editing, but that's not something I do all the time. We have plenty of theory videos on this channel where I don't do that, one of which may be popping up on your screen now. Thanks for watching.